Bam, bam, bam. Bam, there you are. How you
Hello.
guys doing?
Hi.
So how's everybody doing today? I am Scott Jelnick with the Master Investor Academy, and we are back live once again to do the deal of the week. And I have Tommy and Toogie here today, and I can't wait to tell you about their story for your deal that just closed. I think it was last week. It might have been this week. So first off, I want to welcome you guys. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are
Better
you?
and better.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I can't believe we're already 15, 17, 19 days past and we're
I
still
know.
just starting this year off. It's getting there. So, first off, are you guys able to hear me good?
Yes.
All right. So, before we even get into this particular deal, why don't you take a second and just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been investing, or what you got going on right now?
We started with Master Investor over 2 years ago and had a lot of excellent success within the first year. And we just keep learning and growing. And so this most recent deal that we're talking about today started when Toogie lived across the street from this particular property that was abandoned for 11 years. And we did not know the owners, but we started to communicate with them with handwritten letters. Toogie?
Yeah, I actually lived across the street and was looking at this house for over a year and inquiring about it. And I think I wrote a handwritten letter. We found out where they were staying, and she never responded. And then maybe 3 or 4 months later, wrote another handwritten letter. All the time I'm looking at this house, you could hardly see the house. It's overgrown. The city's probably cracking down on them because the grass isn't getting cut very much. And I'm living across the street from it. So
we even visited the residence of the owner.
We stopped by and visited her, met the granddaughter, or the daughter and the grandbaby. And anyway, so we got, I don't know how we got the email, but we eventually got her email, and I sent her an email, and I just tried to make a friend, basically, and let her know that the house wasn't going to get any better sitting there, and that somebody else should have the privilege to be able to, live in and love on the house the way maybe she and her family had. So she finally responded, and we went and met with her. Very nice lady. She grew up in the house. She and her sister are the heirs. Her mother lived in the house since it was built, and she flew out to California for a mission trip and never returned home. She passed away in California 30 years later. Yeah.
So we walked into the house after we got her permission. She let us in. Mildew everywhere. The front wall in the living room was water covered in mildew and rot on the flooring. It was a 2-story house with a slab foundation, hardwood floors upstairs. The old upstairs bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, had roof leaks and water was pouring in there and rotted the hardwood floors there. And it was a 1960s kitchen still. Had it was a gut job.
Yeah.
So,
and these people, since I guess she passed away suddenly, they were pretty much hoarders. This house was packed with furniture, trash. It was obvious that rats have been living there. It was covered in mold.
So 40 cubic foot dumpsters, if anybody knows those are the highest, tallest ones. You have to get a ladder to get inside of them if the back is not open. But 3 40 cubic foot dumpsters is what it took to remove the contents of the house.
Anyway, we did secure a deal with her. She was very emotional about it. This is the house she grew up in, and her mother's stuff was all there. Hadn't been touched for 11 years. Okay. And but she finally realized it was time to let it go, and we helped her clear the house with whatever she wanted before we had to get in there and unload the house. But we convinced her, just not really, any pressure, just to let her know this house is going to be worth nothing if she let it go any longer. And
so we have a contractor friend that I've known in my mortgage renovation business for 10 years, and he went through the house with us and said, this is a home run if we get it at the right price. So he said, I'll go in partners with you and kind of do the work at his cost, and we just split the profits. And so that sounded exactly what we wanted, because we are not contractors. We don't estimate very well, and deal worked out beautifully. So we got in the property the first day, had 10 people in there emptying the house out. Toogie and I actually spent countless hours, days, and weeks removing roots and tree stumps all the way around the house. That was kind of our project. Had trees growing up through the chain link fence. Cut them out of the fence, and Toogie and I had to put some new chain link back up where we had to cut that stuff out.
Yeah, with no exaggeration, Scott, you could not see anything of the house except the garage door, and that's because the driveway prevented any trees from growing in front of the garage door.
Yeah,
you could not see any other part of the house.
So anyway, COVID slowed down the material access. So we were expecting to have the renovation done in about 2 months. It took 3 months to get it done. We closed on it in 4 months. Got a great deal from a hard money lender on the renovation budget. We came in under the renovation budget on top of that. And
we did not put this house on the market. We had a buyer for it. Since it's next to Langley Air Force Base, we had a military buyer for it before it ever went on the market.
So
and we got
actually, our contractor friend has got a realty license, and he knew this realtor who had a VA buyer. So we sold it for full asking price. We negotiated the realty commission down an extra percent, and we gave the buyer instead of the 3% closing costs, we gave him a 1.5% closing cost, and everybody was happy. So we ended up netting $90,000 after all expenses.
$90,000 after expenses. God,
but that's not ours. We split that with the contractor.
Hey,
so
that's okay. That's still a profit. That's fantastic.
$90,000 was an awesome.
We were very happy, and the Lord blessed that property and this deal.
Wow, congratulations. That is fantastic. That is an unbelievable rehab
it's
property.
It's all because of what you taught us.
Well, I have 2 questions. I have 2 things to share. So one is, first off, Tommy, you can tell, for those of you who don't know, you're very, I want to say professional, but experienced in your words, which you may not even realize, because I do it without even realizing it, in the fact that we say mildew and not mold. And I don't know if you even realize you do it, because when you're not experienced, any tenant will always call you and say, oh, my house has mold. No, it has mildew. Get some bleach and Clorox it and it's done. But when you say mold, now it becomes a requirement to disclose and all kinds of remediation and all kinds of problems. Mildew is nothing. You grab a sponge and you wipe it off. And I noticed you say it twice about all the mildew. And I love that, because we are not trained in that. We don't. Mildew's mildew. We see it everywhere. But yet an untrained person always says it's mold. It's mold. There's mold everywhere. The second thing that I had to touch on, and I know we're going to be off topic, but this, to me, it just sounds like a pattern, and a good pattern, is your first deal that we did together was very, very similar in the sense, I was thinking about it as you were talking about your letters. I'm guessing you remember that deal.
Yeah.
And that deal was outside of your church, right? And it was the same thing. It was an abandoned house that was sitting there forever, and you kept sending letters until you got in touch with the person. And as you were telling this story,
on that one, we drove to Richmond to meet the owner.
Right. And that's where I was going. And as you were telling the story, I was thinking, this is very similar. You identified the house and then went through all these sources to find the owner and finally negotiate a deal. And what made that interesting, one was outside your church and one was outside of where you used to live. These 2 deals we're talking about, not all your deals, but these 2 deals we're talking about. But it made me think, about how many people, and probably everybody, have the exact same situation where they have a house they drive by every week for years,
Mm-hmm.
live near a house for years, but never take that extra step, never go and actually send a letter or research the email address or leave a note on the door. And now here's two that you did that for that succeeded. And it's insane to me when you think $90,000 on this one. I don't remember the profit on the first one. You probably do. And I just think it's crazy that these weren't people that responded to your marketing. These were houses that you saw
Mm-hmm.
and seeked and then found the owners and negotiated deals with them. And so for that, I'm like, so congratulations to you guys, because you know what you did is you did what everyone else drove past those same houses. Everyone did.
Right.
Every other person drove past those same houses every single day. But you guys went the extra step and took action and turned it into cash. You created that opportunity. They weren't calling you saying, I need help on this situation. You created the opportunity, and that is just unbelievable. I love the story. Congratulations,
the
guys, because that is fantastic.
Touch, people respond to a personal touch, and we honestly were there to provide a service to them, to and stop paying taxes on property that's getting worse every day, and so everybody appreciated that, and we feel like we did a service to the community and made a profit at the same time.
While we were there working, Scott, that part of the story, we had neighbors walking up and down the street because the weather was really nice in October and November, finishing up the project. People were congratulating us, thanking us,
thinking we were going to move
fixing
in the house.
The neighborhood. We've been looking at that house. It's terrible. I'm so glad you fixed it. So that was kind of funny. I know it happened at least a dozen times. Neighbors.
Like I was saying, any one of those dozen times could have been the people to turn a $90,000 profit, but that's not the industry they're in. And yet you guys took action and did it. And that's just...
I got to add one more financial caveat to this, because at our original Master Investor meeting with you, where we signed up, we learned about those self-directed 401k programs, and that intrigued us a lot, especially when we heard we could use those to do this. Well, we've gotten that going so well that we actually paid taxes on some taxable 401k money and put it into the Roth side of this self-directed fund. So that Roth money bought this house, and all that $45,000 is tax-free income.
That is fantastic, because there's nothing worse than working hard for your money and then giving away a lion's share of it
to the government.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
And nobody knows what's going to happen, but we all feel it's going to get an even bigger percentage coming up shortly, and so that Roth is going to be increasing and increasing and increasing in value with how lucky and blessed you're going to be to have that, and not be paying off that lion's share to someone else.
We would not have known about it if we had not come to
your
Scott Jelenick's Master Investor Academy. That's the only way we even knew that existed.
Yeah. So I have a big question for you, and this is going to be the big question we can end this with. If you were brand new, and somebody, you can be in Detroit, in California, it doesn't matter, any person who's thinking about getting started in real estate investing, either wholesaling, rehabbing, or whatever it is, what advice would you want to give to somebody who's brand new getting started?
I would say educate yourself and find a network to be part of,
Well, not only, Master Investor is just probably the best local source in Hampton Roads for anybody to get started in something like this. So, associating ourselves with everybody that you've associated yourself with makes that a lot easier, because we don't have to go through the learning process that the average investor has to go through. So just being linked to Master Investor is the key there. And then the other key is, we do some praying too. We just ask, to have and see properties, and then be able to take action on them. Just do their investigation, and wherever we can, get names and addresses or phone numbers or whatever, just make those personal touches to the sellers, to the owners, and I think that speeds the process.
Fantastic. I absolutely love your story. And what I loved so much about hearing about this deal, and I know there was a bunch in between, but it just so reminded me of your first deal. I remember that first one, and I was like, that's not a coincidence. Is that you saw a distressed, rotting house sitting there and then took massive action and turned it into big dollars that anyone could have done, because you weren't the only one who went to that church. You weren't the only person who drove by it. It was just you're the only one who took action on it. And I just absolutely love that.
You're absolutely right. Everybody knows somebody or sees a house they drive by every day. Sometimes they're just not ready, and you just have to keep in touch with them and let them know you're concerned or that you care or whatever. Because both of those deals, that the first one and this last one, took some time. They took some months of writing a letter and then responding back with another letter, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Another few things is we participated in your suggestion with velocity marketing. We spent the money there, got our money back, and got at least 2 deals out of that.
The first month.
And then recently you put us on to REI print mail. And so far, Ryan, what's his last name? Yeah. Ryan is been excellent. We got a campaign going for 3 months, and we got our first phone call on a property from an attorney's office, actually. So the letter was passed, I think, from the owner to the attorney's office, and there's an estate of 6 properties that the attorney wants to liquidate. We don't know if we're going to get them. We're gonna think about maybe putting an offer on a bundle tomorrow and just see what happens.
Fantastic. I've been really pleased with them so far. We've gotten a few deals already, but our cost per deal has been fractional of what we've been paying for the last several years. So I'm real happy with them. It's been pretty unbelievable. So
and they're so nice too, and they really walk you through it. They're friendly people, friendly company to work with.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to let you guys go. Do you have any parting words you want to share? Do you have any parting words you want to share before I let you go?
Partner with Master Investor Academy. You'll do well.
This is not a paid endorsement.
No.
All right, guys. Well, have an absolutely fantastic evening. I am so freaking happy for you guys. I love when I hear the successes that you guys are having. And thank you guys for coming on tonight. I greatly appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon. And you have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for the fame.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.